My 32-year-old female, husband, 30-year-old male, and I have been together for 10 years. We have 2 children, an 8-year-old girl, ours, and an 11-year-old boy, mine from a previous relationship. He's never been very involved in our kids' lives, but he has always shown up when it's important. Recently, he has become more distant. He spends more time playing video games on his computer, sometimes until 1 a.m. after work. We had a weekend of parades and events in town that the kids and I wanted to go to. He thought we were only going to the last parade on Sunday, so we skipped the others and planned to attend that one. On Sunday, about 2 hours before we had to leave, he turned on his computer and said he needed to do something real quick. 45 minutes before the parade started, as we were getting ready to leave, he said he was going to stay home. The kids and I went to the parade and had a great time together. They didn't seem to mind that it was just the 3 of us. The following week, he wanted to start a server for gaming, which cost $80. I told him he could wait until I got paid in 3 days, but that I wouldn't take money from our savings. Instead, he borrowed the money from his mom without consulting me. He knows I have issues with his mom and money. I told him it would have been better if he had talked to me before borrowing from her. He tried to make me doubt myself, but I knew he hadn't mentioned it to me. This happened on Valentine's Day, and he didn't give anything to me or the kids, but he paid for his server. I didn't make a big deal about it and wanted to move on. The next weekend, our daughter had an art fair to showcase her artwork. She was excited about it. The night before, he stayed up until 3-4 a.m. playing his game. The next morning, he refused to wake up, despite me trying 4 times. Finally, he got up as we were about to leave but decided to stay home. My daughter didn't mind, but it broke my heart, so the kids and I went without him. At the art fair, we saw my daughter's beautiful picture. I was proud of her, and she was excited to see it on display. We also went to the activity room where we colored and made crafts. My daughter then told me, "I'm glad Dad didn't come. You're more fun when he's not around, and he's always so grumpy and rushes us." This hurt me even more, and I struggled not to cry. Afterward, we went downtown to our favorite donut place to celebrate her accomplishment. This is something my husband wouldn't have wanted to do. When we got home after about 3 hours, he was on his computer. He could tell I was upset and asked what was wrong. I told him it was sad that he couldn't take 3 hours out of his day to make his daughter feel special and show up for her. I warned him that if he continues like this, he'll end up alone and with no contact from the kids, and it'll be his own fault. He laughed it off and went back to playing. So, am I the idiot? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Honey, you need to wake up, your daughter told you without saying it outright. She's not happy and she knows you're not. You need to leave. The guy doesn't care. And the fact that you just accepted him laughing and not caring says he thinks you have no backbone. And so do your kids. If it's your house, hand him divorce papers and an eviction notice. If it's his or both, pack up you and the kids and go stay with family until the divorce and split assets are sorted. Comment 2. Not the idiot. But it's hard to believe you typed all that out, up to and including the whatever while laughing at you, and asked if you're the AH. He's completely checked out. To the point that your daughter knows and is already happier when he's not around to frick things up with his selfishness and piss-poor attitude. You should work on that him waking up alone thing as soon as possible. Now, for the update, thanks for sticking around for this update. So, after the art fair, things just spiraled. My husband's mom, the one he borrowed money from, showed up at our house unannounced. She had this idea that I was keeping him from seeing her, which is ridiculous. She started yelling, and the kids heard everything. My daughter was crying, and my son was trying to calm her down. It was a mess. Then my husband did something I never thought he would. He sided with his mom, right there in front of me and the kids. He told me I was overreacting and that his mom had every right to come over whenever she wanted. I felt so betrayed. I mean, after everything, to have him not back me up in front of the kids, it was like a slap in the face. A few days later, I found out he wasn't just playing games on his computer. He was talking to someone, a woman from his gaming group. I saw the messages. They were flirty, and it was clear he was more than just friends with her. I confronted him, and he tried to lie his way out of it. But I had seen the messages with my own eyes. I was so angry, I packed a bag for me and the kids, and we went to stay with my sister. I needed space to think. My sister was great. She took the kids out so I could have some time alone. That's when I got the call. My husband had been in an accident. He was okay, but he had been drinking and crashed his car. He could have ended the life of someone. The woman he was talking to? She was in the car with him. I was furious, but also scared. It was like I didn't even know who he was anymore. I went to see him at the hospital. He was all apologetic, saying he didn't know what he was doing and that he was sorry. But it just felt empty. I didn't know what to believe. The kids were asking about him, and I didn't know what to tell them. Then, my son, the one from my previous relationship, he sat me down. He told me that he didn't think his stepdad was a good person and that we'd be better off without him. Hearing that from an 11-year-old, it hit hard. But he was right. I had been making excuses for my husband for too long. I decided to forgive my husband for the accident, not because he deserved it, but because I needed to let go of the anger for my own sake and for the kids. It made me look weak, maybe even desperate, but I had to do it for us to move forward. We're still staying with my sister. I'm looking into getting a place of our own. The kids are doing okay, all things considered. They're strong, and they've got me. And I've got them. That's what matters. Thanks for reading. My father's mistress envies my adopted son, so she tries to steal him, but I team up with Dad and make her regret crossing a protective parent. 2 or 3 years ago, my father cheated on my mom with a dumb idiot, an affectionate nickname. She knew very well that my father was married and didn't care. My brothers and I have little contact with my father. We would have no contact at all if it were up to us, but unfortunately, we see him and his affair partner girlfriend at family gatherings. 1 year ago, I adopted a baby from one of my neighbors. She's an addict, a woman who has had more than 10 children and gave away half of them. Others are even in jail for things like abuse and violence. My grandmother usually helps her with food and other things. When she had the baby, she used to leave him at my grandmother's house for days, and I took care of him since he was 1 week old. I'm in the process of legally adopting my son because his mother literally told me that she didn't want him because she's pregnant again. It's a really sad and sensitive topic in the family, but we all love my baby. My father's affair partner has a 5-year-old son who is not my father's son. She's totally jealous that my whole family loves my son. She always makes weird comments about him or brings up the topic of his biological mother. She doesn't even say that I'm his mother. We're all kind to her son because he's just an innocent kid. My baby even plays with him. But she always looks for the opportunity to make passive-aggressive comments or tries to be included in family plans. However, my siblings always tell her that she is not invited to anything. Yesterday, we were celebrating my grandmother's birthday, and she started saying she wanted a picture with her youngest grandson, my baby. But my father's affair partner came over with her son for the photo. We all felt uncomfortable, but my grandma took the picture with the kid to not make him feel bad. When the kids were playing in another room, my grandma told the affair partner that her son is not her grandson and she shouldn't make him believe that. The affair partner got defensive and said that my baby is not part of the family either. According to her, her son is like a son to my father now, so her son has more rights than my baby. I got mad and told her to shut up and that, unlike her, I am part of the family. So my baby is family too. No matter how hard she tries, she will never be part of the family because in everyone's eyes, she's just my father's affair partner until he gets bored. The family only invites her out of kindness so my father can stop being a pain in the butt, so she should just shut her mouth. She started to cry, and my father yelled at me and my grandma. Now I feel bad because my grandmother and my father are angry with each other after she spent a long time not wanting to see him after the affair happened because my mother is like a second daughter to her. They started talking again after my grandpa had health issues. P.S. I'm not from an English-speaking country, so I'm sorry for any grammatical errors. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. She can't help break a family and then get upset she isn't part of it. Good for you acknowledging you'd cut your dad off too if you could. His AP deserves the hate for what she helped do to your family. Comment 2. Not the idiot. You weren't wrong. You're adopting your son, so he's part of the family. The AP's son is only included in family things until your dad moves on to another woman. Now, for the update. Thanks for all the comments on my last post. So, the drama didn't stop after that mess at my grandmother's birthday. A few weeks later, my father's affair partner did something that made my blood boil. She went behind my back and contacted my son's biological mother. I don't know how she found her, but she did. She told her that I was unfit to be a mother and that she should take her son back. Can you believe that? The nerve of her. The biological mother showed up at my door, high as a kite, demanding her baby back. It was a scene straight out of a nightmare. I had to call the police to get her to leave. My heart was racing and I was scared for my son. I couldn't believe that woman would stoop so low just to hurt me. But here's where it gets even crazier. My father, the same man who cheated on my mom, actually took my side. He told his girlfriend that what she did was out of line and that she had no right to interfere with my family. He even threatened to leave her if she ever pulled a stunt like that again. I was shocked. I never expected him to stand up for me, especially against her. The aftermath was a mess. My father and his girlfriend fought for days. My brothers and I didn't know what to think. We were still angry at him for the affair, but we couldn't help but feel a tiny bit of gratitude for his support. It was confusing, to say the least. Then, just when I thought things couldn't get any more complicated, my father did something that changed everything. He offered to help me with the legal adoption of my son. He said he wanted to make things right, and that he'd pay for the best lawyer to make sure the adoption went through without a hitch. It was a huge gesture, and it left me feeling torn. On one hand, I was still resentful for all the pain he caused our family. On the other, I couldn't deny that his help would be a blessing for my son's future. I accepted his offer, but it made me look weak and desperate in the eyes of my siblings. They couldn't understand how I could accept anything from him after all he'd done. But I had to think about what was best for my son, even if it meant swallowing my pride. The betrayal from my father's girlfriend and the unexpected support from my father brought up a lot of old wounds and complicated feelings. It was a reminder that life is messy and that people can surprise you in the most unexpected ways. I'm still working through my feelings about all of this. It's hard to forgive, and even harder to forget. But I have to focus on what's important, and that's my son. He needs a stable home and a loving family, and I'll do whatever it takes to give that to him. Thanks for reading. My sister stole my baby's name and let her boyfriend scam me out of my savings, so I exposed their fraud on social media and watched as their perfect life crumbled to dust. My sister Kelly, 28 years old, and I, 30 years old, have never gotten along. Let's get that out of the way right now. I know my judgment is probably biased because of this. Ever since we were kids, she would always try to copy or one-up me. For example, in school, she'd join every club or sport I was in and try to beat me at it, debate, chess, tennis, etc. Kelly would always throw it in my face that she had better friends than me, which really meant she was in with the popular crowd while I preferred to be friends with people that I actually liked. Our mom went to an Ivy League school, which I also applied to, and was accepted. And when it was time for Kelly to apply to colleges, she applied to an even more prestigious Ivy League and was rejected. She threw a big fit about not getting in when she was a much better student than me. Anyway, Kelly and I were both pregnant at the same time. I was pregnant first, and once my partner and I found out the gender, we decided to use a name that I've loved since I was little, Josephine. Kelly knows that this is my dream baby name, and I thought that she'd have enough respect to consider this one name as off-limits. But no. 2 weeks later, she and her boyfriend announced that they were pregnant with baby Josie. I called her up to ask if she was really going to name her baby the same name as mine, and she smugly said that I was free to change my baby's name because she hadn't been born yet, never mind that she was less far along than I was. My partner and I stuck to our guns because we honestly didn't think she'd go through with it, and welcomed our baby Josephine into the world 6 months ago. We announced the birth on social media, and to my horror, the very next week, Kelly posted a picture of some custom blankets she'd ordered with the name Josie on them. For her, Little Jojo, which is a nickname my partner and I used for our Josephine in our post. I called her again to basically tell her to change her plans for her baby's name, because my Josephine had already been born, and her name is on the birth certificate. I told Kelly bluntly that I was calling her bluff, and she told me that she wasn't bluffing, and that I was free to change my baby's name, or else there would be 2 JoJos in the family. I called her a huge narcissist and told her that she wasn't welcome in my baby JoJo's life if she went through with stealing my JoJo's name. 2 weeks after my birth, Kelly gave birth to her baby Josie. I didn't contact her at all, not to offer support or to tell her off for stealing my baby's name. I figured that she was in recovery and that I shouldn't stress her out immediately after giving birth. Last week, Kelly called me up because she wanted to come over and meet my baby now that she's 6 months old. I asked if she'd changed her baby's name, and she confusedly said no. I reminded Kelly of what I'd told her back before our babies had been born, and she called me an unreasonable witch. Now the whole family is up in arms against me for not letting my sister meet her niece. Am I the idiot here? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Tell your family you're done with the constant competitions, and since they didn't put a stop to it when you were kids, you're putting a stop to it now, before Kelly passes it on to the next generation. My ex-best friend stole my baby name. She knew what that name meant to me, who it was in honor of, and she didn't care. Someone that selfish doesn't deserve to be in your life, in my opinion. Comment 2. Not the idiot. I can only imagine how bad your sister is going to be about comparing the kids. Save your daughter from being subjected to your sister's nonsense and go low contact or no contact. It sucks that the rest of your family either refuses to see or doesn't care about your sister's behavior, but just explain to them that you aren't going to expose her to that negatively competitive environment. Now, for the update. Thanks for sticking around after my last post. So, Kelly's been at it again, and honestly, it's like she's got a vendetta against me or something. Just when I thought things couldn't get more twisted, Kelly's boyfriend, who's always been a bit of a smooth talker, started cozying up to my partner at family gatherings. At first I thought he was just trying to mend fences, but turns out he was fishing for information about our financial situation. He'd drop hints about great investment opportunities and stupidly, we fell for it. My partner, always looking to provide the best for our little Josephine, decided to invest a hefty sum. I had my doubts, but Kelly's boyfriend assured us it was a sure thing. Then, out of the blue, my partner's job hit a rough patch. Layoffs were happening left and right, and the stress at home was obvious. Kelly's boyfriend, seeing an opening, suggested my partner invest even more to cover any potential losses if the worst happened. Desperate to keep us afloat, my partner doubled down on the investment. Meanwhile, Kelly had the nerve to throw a lavish first-month celebration for her Josie. She invited everyone, even my friends, and made sure to plaster pictures all over social media of her baby with those custom blankets. It was like she was rubbing it in my face, showing off how she could outdo me even in motherhood. But here's where it gets really messed up. The investment? It tanked. Completely. Turns out, Kelly's boyfriend had been sweet-talking a bunch of people in our circle into this scam, and we were all left high and dry. Savings. Gone. Trust. Shattered. And Kelly? She acted all innocent, like she had no idea what her boyfriend was up to. But I know her. She's always been a step ahead, always plotting. I can't prove it, but I bet she knew exactly what was going on. And as if losing our savings wasn't bad enough, my partner did end up getting laid off. We were reeling, trying to figure out how to make ends meet, and Kelly? She just kept flaunting her perfect little life, her perfect little JoJo, like she hadn't just played a part in turning ours upside down. Now, with everything that's happened, you'd think our family would see Kelly for who she really is. But no. They're all blinded by her act. They think I'm just being spiteful and jealous. They don't see how she's manipulated everyone, how she's always got to be one step ahead, no matter the cost to anyone else. So here I am, trying to pick up the pieces of my life, while Kelly plays the doting mother and innocent sister. And the worst part? I can't even talk about it without looking like the bad guy. It's like I'm living in some twisted soap opera where the villain gets away with everything. Thanks for reading. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.